I love quilling. Quilling is the art form that uses strips of paper that are coiled and shaped into decorative designs. So I was really excited to try this method using gum paste. And today I'm going to show you how you can make this gum paste poinsettia using the quilling method. So to start your poinsettia, you're going to have the following. This is a strip cutter, and a strip cutter's going to cut the strips of gum paste evenly, and you can find this strip cutter at Gem Cutters. That's J-E-M, and this is strip cutter number 2. It cuts 6 strips at one time. Very handy tool. Then we have our Dresden tool, and then we have a quilling tool. And a quilling tool actually has little prongs at the end here. Now you can find these at craft stores, and the tool has a little slot at the very end of it, and you want to take something like a paring knife or something very fine and just get in there and open those prongs a little wider. Give it a little twist and pry them open so that we can get the strip of gum paste in there, because of course gum paste is thicker than paper, and that will work just fine. And then you'll need some water with a little brush. Okay, so we'll use our quilling tool and the Dresden tool to form the petals. And here I have already rolled out the strips of red and green. Of course, I didn't say that earlier, but you're going to need red for the petals and green for the leaves. And the critical point in quilling with gum paste is how dry it is. So if it's too wet, it won't stand up on its edge, it'll flop. And if it's too dry, it'll start cracking as you coil with your tool. So you really just kind of want these, after cutting them, I'll let them sit out and even under this plastic for about 5 minutes, and you can just feel them and just make sure that they don't feel sticky or moist. And after you do a couple of them, you'll get the hang of what the right temperature is. You know, of course it depends on the humidity in the room and the weather of the day. But we'll get started here, and we'll start by, I'm going to keep the green one covered for the leaf. And we'll start with this strip for the leaf. Okay. I think I'll come up here so you can see a little better. And you take your quilling tool that has had the prongs opened, and you put it on the end, just ever so gently. You don't even have to touch the bottom, and you start twirling. And this is actually done kind of loose, not as tight as you would if you were using paper. And I back it up so that I can open up the coil. I don't want it tightly, and I use my Dresden tool to pull the quilling tool out. Then I do the rest of the coiling with just my hands, standing the gum paste up on its side and coming around. Then I use my Dresden tool, the tip, to help me put things where I want them. Now what I'm trying to do here is to make a big enough petal to when I pinch the ends, I'll have nice points, and putting the other coil like in the center. So I take a little bit of my water, and I want to adhere the end, so I wet the very end, and I use my Dresden tool to hold the inside of the loop it's going to stick to, and just gently push it till it sticks. Then with my fingers, I pinch at both ends. At this point it almost looks like an eyeball. You see that? And now I want to bring the second loop up inside, and I want to pinch that too. So I pinch, and then I use my Dresden tool to open it back up again. this is just the part you just got to play with it till you like it. Okay, and then for poinsettia, oops, you can also use this tool and with your finger on the outside, smooth it on the inside. If you happen to squeeze it too much, go ahead and use the tool to smooth it out. For the poinsettia, you want to kind of tip the top end of it, okay? And then you would set that aside to dry. Now for the leaf, the holly leaf, here I actually have 1.5 strips. I make it a little bit longer by joining the two here with some water. Okay, and it's the same procedure using the quilling tool. Start the tip. The handle of this quilling tool is rubberized, so it's real easy to twirl. Not slippery at all. And we're just doing a very large, loose coil. And to keep it really loose, you back up on it, counterclockwise, take the tool out, and finish the rest of the coil with your hand. Use a little bit of water to seal the end. Now for the holly leaf, you're going to start by pinching both ends, just like we did on the petal. Okay? And then using the Dresden tool, you come back in and pinch around at the top and again at the bottom. And do the other side. And after you've pinched it with the tool, you can just mold it with your fingers. And then you set it aside to dry. Okay, so once all your petals and your leaves are dried, you can see here how I made them and laid them out to make sure they all fit as I liked, and left them to dry. I also made some centers, the center of the flower. I even just hand rolled these. I cut the strips and rolled up some little centers and then dusted them with yellow petal dust, and that'll be the center of our flower. This piece of gum paste here is what we're going to stick all the petals onto. So we take this size and we pinch it out into about the size of a quarter. And then we wet it, and then this is what we're going to stick all the petals onto. So I'm just going to move them over and stick them on. Make sure everybody gets in there. Want to make sure everything is stuck to that piece. And then these actually, when this piece dries, you'll lift that up and put it on your cake or whatever it is you want to adorn. So you will just put the leaves in as well, okay, onto your cake. And then the centers just get glued on. and you leave it all to dry and apply it to whatever it is you're baking. And there is your quilled gum paste poinsettia.